The global economy will grow above trend this year, and mostly the receding pandemic, coupled with strong household finances in key markets, will inject thrust. However, some growth headwinds may emerge from volatile financial markets. Indeed, rising interest rates, especially in the United States, may unnerve financial markets with negative feedback loops to consumer and business confidence. There is also heightened geopolitical risks, whether it be of the US Sino variety or from an emboldened Russia. Overall, though, in the way the pandemic suppressed growth in varying degrees over the last 2 years, the likely abatement in the pandemic this year will spawn a rising tide of economic activity, with a fair amount of pent-up demand for services waiting to be unleashed. We forecast the global economy will expand by close to 5% in 2022. With respect to sub-Saharan Africa, this region will grow by 4% this year. Economic performance will rest on the recovery in global trade and from elevated commodity prices. Favorably also, international organizations and donors have mobilized to support the region. The IMF's special drawing rights allocation past August has boosted the region's reserves, and the debt service suspension initiative has also provided breathing space for several countries. Favorable harvests in southern and East Africa will lift agricultural production, and reduce COVID-related restrictions will buoy aggregate demand. With respect to economic segments, tourism receipts have started to improve. And because the hospitality sector has wide value chains, for instance, in transport, in telecommunications, and in financial services, this should encourage somewhat of a rising tide. Non-resource economies will also grow briskly in 2022, followed by the non-oil but still resource-dependent economies. And then the oil export is bringing up the rear. On the outlook for South Africa, immunity against severe COVID-19 has largely evolved through natural infection over the course of the 4 waves, and more laterally through vaccinations. These heightened levels of immunity will continue to help suppress the hospitalization and death toll, particularly if vaccine coverage can be increased to 90% for the over 50-year-old age group. To be sure, the receding pandemic will be a major boost to animal spirits and especially consumer activity. In terms of South Africa's political economy, 3 themes will dominate the year ahead. First, the ANC's elective conference in December. Second, the long shadow of July's unrest. And third, the push for accountability for state capture. In essence, the challenge for President Ramaphosa will be to override party tensions and aggressively deliver reforms that better support economic recovery. On the economic outlook, output has improved markedly since the second quarter of 2020, so that production is now around 1% below pre-pandemic levels. International growth has been a boon, and South Africa's trade partner growth remains robust. Also, South Africa's economic recovery will be underpinned by household spending, especially from high-income earners, while the social support to low-wage earners will be a further crutch. Investment, on the other hand, has been particularly weak in the last 2 years and will grow modestly this year. Some boost to growth may also emerge from inventory rebuilding and from a tourism bounce back. In terms of the national budget, a roughly 50 billion rand revenue overrun will stave off increases in key tax measures like personal income tax rates. With respect to the rand, we judge the currency to be at about fair value against the US dollar at present, and we anticipate another 3 25 basis points rate hikes by the Reserve Bank this year. Overall, South Africa's long-term economic prospects will hinge on broader institutional and macroeconomic reforms to avoid South Africa remaining locked in a low-growth trap. As a result, the government will have to be far more assertive in its actions to convince citizens and investors that reforms required to accelerate economic growth is a core near-term ambition.